Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News, an Indian perspective on All India Radio. This is Nishit Kumar bringing glimpses of major developments of the day from across the globe. The headlines. India and Japan hold strategic dialogue, call for free, open and inclusive India-Pacific region. World Bank President asks China to cancel debt to poor countries. Emmanuel Charpentier and Jennifer A. Doudna win the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for Genome Editing. UN Chief calls for universal health coverage to strengthen efforts against COVID-19. US imposes curbs on H-1B visas to protect its workers. And in tennis, Petra Kvitova storms into the semi-finals of French Open. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar held a bilateral meeting with his Japanese counterpart Toshimitsu Motegi in Tokyo on Wednesday. At the 13th India-Japan Foreign Ministers Strategic Dialogue, progress in India-Japan Special Strategic and Global Partnership was reviewed. Maritime security, trade and investment, manufacturing, skill development, connectivity and infrastructure, health and wellness, Indo-Pacific Ocean Initiative and UN reforms figured in the talks. India and Japan underlined the need for a robust digital and cyber security systems, and both the ministers welcomed the finalization of the text of cyber security agreement. It promotes cooperation in capacity building, research and development in the areas of critical information infrastructure, 5G, Internet of Things and artificial intelligence. Both the ministers emphasized that a free, open and inclusive Indo-Pacific region must be based on diversified and resilient supply chains. World Bank President David Malpass has called wealthy nations including China to cancel debts to poor countries to help them withstand the impact of coronavirus. It has said that efforts so far were important but inadequate. Addressing an online event hosted by the Frankfurt School of Finance and Management, World Bank President David Malpass blamed China for worsening debt situation in some poor countries. He accused Beijing of not taking part fully in the Group of 20 debt service suspension initiative. More from our Prasar Bharati special correspondent in Beijing in this report.
World Bank President called China's well-capitalized creditors an added factor in current wave of debt troubles in world's poorest countries. He lamented that Chinese lenders have expanded their portfolios dramatically and are not fully participating in the debt rescheduling processes. Japan few days ago urged a group of 7 advanced economies to put more pressure on Beijing to abide by G20-led debt service suspension initiative for poor countries. World Bank has also called other wealthy nations to participate in this scheme. Anshuman Mishra for World News, All India Radio, Beijing.
A new 14-country Pew Research Center survey shows negative views of China have grown more negative in recent years across many advanced economies. Today, a majority in each of the surveyed countries has an unfavorable opinion of China. In Australia, United Kingdom, Germany, Netherlands, Sweden, United States, South Korea, Spain and Canada, negative views have reached their highest points since the Pew Center began polling on this topic more than a decade ago. Negative views of China increased most in Australia to 81% from 57%. In the UK, around 3/4 now see China in a negative light, up 19 points. And in the US, negative views of China have increased nearly 20 percentage points. Disapproval of how China has handled the COVID-19 pandemic has also colored people's confidence in Chinese President Xi Jinping. Across the 14 countries surveyed, 78% say they have no confidence in Chinese President Xi to do the right thing when it comes to international affairs, with at least 7 in 10 in every country saying that they lack confidence in Xi. French scientist Emmanuel Charpentier and American Jennifer A. Doudna have won the 2020 Nobel Prize in Chemistry for developing a method of genome editing likened to molecular scissors. This tool offers the promise of curing genetic diseases. The Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences said that the scientists have discovered one of gene technology's sharpest tools, the CRISPR Cas9 genetic scissors. This technology has not only revolutionized basic science but also resulted in innovative crops and will lead to groundbreaking new medical treatments. Day after returning to the White House after being hospitalized for COVID-19, U.S. President Donald Trump said that he is looking forward to participating in the October 15 presidential debate with Democratic nominee Joe Biden. Meanwhile, Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden has said that next week's scheduled debate with Republican President Donald Trump should not take place if Trump is still infected with COVID-19. In another development, New York Times has endorsed Joe Biden's candidature for the U.S. presidency. This is All India Radio giving you the world news. Now, let us take a look at the coronavirus updates. According to WHO data, the number of infected cases has crossed 35.53 million worldwide. WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus called for solidarity and political commitment by all the leaders to ensure equal distribution of vaccines when they become available. 9 experimental vaccines are in the pipeline of the WHO's COVAX global vaccine facility that aims to distribute 2 billion doses by the end of 2021. Meanwhile, India continues to lead the global tally with over 5.7 million recoveries so far. It has achieved a recovery rate of over 85%. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said that a huge gap in health coverage is one of the reasons why COVID-19 has caused so much pain and suffering. He underlined that public health programs must be inclusive and equitable without financial barriers. The Secretary General also highlighted the urgent need of universal health coverage, including mental health coverage, to strengthen efforts against COVID-19.
Universal health coverage requires governments to step up investment in common goods for health, including surveillance and risk communication, so that the world never faces such a situation again. It also requires public health programs to be inclusive and equitable without financial barriers.
The U.S. administration has announced new restrictions on H-1B non-immigrant visa program. The new restrictions are aimed at protecting American workers that H-1B petitions are approved only for qualified beneficiaries and petitioners. The interim final rule was announced by the Department of Homeland Security on Tuesday ahead of the U.S. presidential election on November 3rd. The technology companies depend on H-1B visa to hire tens of thousands of employees each year from countries like India and China. The Central Asian nation of Kyrgyzstan slid deeper into chaos on Wednesday as rival opposition factions made grabs for power. Earlier, the Kyrgyz Central Election Commission declared the results of the parliamentary elections held on October 4th void amid violent protests. United Nations has said that UN Secretary General is closely monitoring the situation, and it urged all Kyrgyz actors to exercise utmost restraint and refrain from violence. The European Union has called for cessation of hostilities in the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict zone. Armenia claimed on Wednesday that the territory's capital, Stepanakert, came under attack again. However, Azerbaijan has rejected claims of targeting civilian infrastructure in Stepanakert. Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan said that the actions of Turkey and Azerbaijan amounted to terroristic attack over Nagorno-Karabakh that form part of the continuation of Armenian genocide. Sindhi activists join anti-Pakistan protests with the Baloch in Toronto. It follows similar series of demonstrations that have been demanding Islamabad to stop abduction and killing of Baloch youths. They shouted anti-Pakistan slogans and urged Prime Minister Imran Khan government to terminate its military operations in the region that have eliminated dozens of Baloch youth activists and leaders in just past few weeks. Moving on to sports, in the French Open tennis, two-time Wimbledon champion Petra Kvitova beat 66th ranked Laura Siegemund in the women's quarterfinal. In another match, unseeded Iga Swiatek defeated Martina Trevisan to reserve a berth in the semi-finals. In the third match, Australian Open champion Sophia Kenin thrashed unseeded Danielle Collins to enter the semi-finals. India is celebrating the 151st birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. Before we end, let us listen to Vaishnavajan by artists from Bangladesh.
Vaishnavajana to tene kahiye je peed paraye jaane re.
And with that, we end this bulletin. See you at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.